Hey Xbox ROG Ally fans, I know you're excited. The release is coming in October. We're all excited. Despite my complaints in previous videos about the screen size and the screen not having OLED, it's still going to be one of the most powerful handhelds this year and one of the most popular devices coming out this year, and I'm super hyped for it. Now, one thing that I saw on the web today was the fact that somebody is playing this Doom The Dark Ages at 1080p 70 frames a second with ray tracing enabled. Absolutely insane. It's our good friend the Fox, Cary Golomb, over on X. He's posted a video of it and we're going to take a look at that. But first, like, subscribe, click the bell icon. If you love handheld gaming, you want more of it on your homepage every day, you can handheld gaming. We started from the Game Boy and now we're here playing AAA game releases. What a time to be alive. Anyways, let's get into it, guys. So the ROG Xbox Ally runs Doom Dark Ages at 1080p 70 FPS with ray tracing. The performance on the ROG Ally X hits an impressive 70 FPS at 1080p. However, that is with FSR at 50% and frame gen enabled, which frame gen, if you don't know, it basically generates double the frames with like the only using the resources for one frame. So basically it uses AI to basically guess what the next frame is going to be, and then boom, creates 2 frames instead of 1, and before you know it, you've got double the frame rate. Absolutely nuts. And then when you factor in ray tracing in with that, it's pretty crazy. Here is the tweet over on X from Cary Golomb. ROG Ally X, Doom The Dark Ages, 1080p upscaled, FSR 50%, 540p base res, ray tracing enabled, custom low medium settings, FSR frame gen enabled, 70 FPS in the scene, 26 watts total power, 18 watts TDP. But good news is we see the system self-balancing power. My YouTube video tomorrow, go check him out, the Fox on YouTube. And here it is. Here it is. Look how good that is. Now, I will admit, I'm not a huge fan of frame gen. I'm really sensitive when it comes to input latency, and that is something, unfortunately, that's a drawback to frame generation. Yes, you get like double the frames, you get really great performance, but there is a little bit of input latency. And if you're playing a game like an FPS game, especially a competitive online shooter, it's a really big deal. I don't advise using frame gen, but for a single player game like Doom, you could live with it. And for that frame rate, for 70 frames with ray tracing enabled, that's pretty darn impressive. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you're expecting in terms of performance for the ROG Ally. Is frame gen something that you use or you tolerate using on something like a handheld gaming PC? Let me know in the comments. But the Cyborg basically replies saying, this is an abuse of frame gen, doubly so for an action game and triply so for Doom. Someday we're going to have universal laws governing video game software and prohibiting the application of frame gen to an engine rendering less than 60 FPS. Needs to be one of the first. I don't disagree when I do benchmarks. I don't even use upscaling, but people will use upscaling and frame gen all the time, unfortunately. So it's running 540p at 35 FPS then. He says yes. Seeing ray tracing with a 60 FPS 60 plus FPS on a handheld is crazy. Can't wait for the next GPU and handhelds to take us to the next level. Cary, worth an upgrade from an ROG Ally Z1 Extreme. Cary says, I don't think it's going to be easy to recommend as an upgrade from a performance point of view only. It's just not going to be that much better. If it's the Ally with 40 watt hour battery, then 80 watt battery, it's a big upgrade. How is sleep mode while playing? I asked this specifically when the Z2 Extreme only has modern standby, but they are fine-tuning what's happening in sleep mode. Additionally, in the Xbox full screen experience, there are power improvements on idle power as well. So yeah, it's going to be a powerful little thing. It's not going to be a generational leap in performance. I think over the Steam Deck, it's going to be a pretty big leap if you are looking at getting the Xbox ROG Ally. If you're wanting something to push your games over that 60 FPS line, modern games with obviously FSR upscaling, this might be it. Obviously, I'm starting to hit that limit on Steam Deck myself, where I'm playing games that I want to play, and we're just not getting a solid 30. It's dipping below the 30s, even with FSR set to performance in some cases. I don't really want to use frame gen if I can help it. And obviously games, I'm struggling to get 60 FPS. And Elden Ring, you're looking at 40. If you're really looking to get at least a good 60 frames a second with FSR turned on, and you know, that for me is the minimum. in most games, 60 frames. You know, something like this over the Steam Deck, it's going to be a pretty decent upgrade for you. And I totally understand why Valve is actually taking their time with the Steam Deck. They're waiting for that generational hardware leap, performance leap over the current Steam Deck, and I'm okay waiting for that, honestly. And I hope that they improve the screen size in the new Steam Deck. But overall, ROG Ally, Xbox ROG Ally, Xbox getting into the hardware game in terms of, you know, improving Windows, creating their own version of Windows that's optimized for touch input and handheld gaming. I think this is a win. It might not be everything. It's the first product from Xbox that Xbox has collaborated on and actually modified Windows for. So it's a big deal. Let's not be too hard on them. I think this is a sign of great big things to come from Xbox. And obviously one of my favorite hardware manufacturers, Asus. I love Asus laptops. I love Asus handhelds. If I was to get a handheld other than the Steam Deck, it would probably be an Asus ROG Ally. I've had one before, loved it. And yeah, I'm super hyped for this to come out. Honestly, I'm thinking about selling my Steam Deck OLED for this. The only thing holding me back is the screen. I would love to have had a bigger screen, a 16:10 display, or, you know, an OLED display. It would have been nicer. An 8-inch display like the Nintendo Switch 2 would have been really sweet on this. A little bit bummed it's not going to have that, but we'll see. I'm waiting to see more benchmarks. We will get more benchmarks, and when we do get more benchmarks, I'll be covering them here on the channel. I'm your pal Blaze. Like, subscribe, click the bell icon, and check the links down below for some really cool tech stuff, great handheld stuff, especially from JSOX. Go check them out. Anyway, it's just a small update talking about how the fact that the ROG Ally, Xbox ROG Ally, can play Doom with ray tracing enabled in 2025. What a time to be alive. Anyways, guys, catch you in the next one. I'm Blaze. Peace out.